Welcome to Learn to Make Amigurumis with Midcat. This is lesson 1, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple ball like this. So I'm going to teach you how to work in the round, because most amigurumis are worked in the round. And I'm going to show you some tricks of how to make this look nice and neat, and how to work your increases and decreases. And an amigurumi is basically a stuffed doll that is knitted or crocheted. We're crocheting. And you can make little dolls like this kitty cat, or a jellyfish. Again, this is worked in the round with some extras on the bottom, or even something as elaborate as a little person like this pirate. But we're going to be starting with a round ball just to teach you the basics, and then next time we're going to make a kitty cat like this one. So what you need to get started is, again, some yarn. I'm going to be using this green today, and we need a crochet hook. I'm using a worsted weight again. This is a medium 4 yarn, and I'm using a crochet hook that is smaller than the one recommended. I'm using a 4mm. A 5mm is recommended for this size of yarn. The reason I'm using a smaller one is because we're going to be stuffing our doll, and we don't want any of the stuffing to show through. So we want these holes in between to be really small so you don't see any of the stuffing coming through. So we do need some kind of stuffing material. I usually use polyfill. There's also fiber fill and similar materials. Some people use roving or, you know, whatever soft filling material you can find. You can get these at craft stores, at sewing stores, or online. We'll also need some stitch markers. I'll again be using paper clips, and of course a little needle to sew in our ends, and some sort of scissors. So in my other crochet lessons I showed you how to make the magic adjustable ring. We're going to be doing that to start with because we want a nice closed start and we want to be working in the round. So we need to start with a ring. If you didn't see the other lessons, I'm going to show you again how to do this. You want to wrap your yarn around your finger twice. So you have 2 loops on your finger. You want to insert your hook under both loops, pull your yarn through, and anchor it with a chain. And now you want to make the first stitch a little bit looser so you can work into it again, and I'm going to do 6 stitches. Single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we can slip this off the finger, take the loop that is in the back, and pull it to close our ring. And then grab our tail and pull that tight. And you've got a neat little ring that is nicely anchored. So now we want to increase this to get a bigger surface to work with. And since we started with 6 single crochet, we want to increase by 6 every round. So the first time to increase by 6, we're doubling our stitches from 6 to 12. So we want to put 2 single crochets in each of these stitches. We'll start with the first one that we worked a little bit looser to get into it again. And this tail, so we don't have to sew it in later, I'm just going to lay it over my stitches and crochet it inside the stitches, so it'll be anchored right there. So 1, same stitch again, 2, now we go into the next stitch and put 2 in there, 1, 2, again the next stitch, 2, 1, 2. We have 6 stitches, so we need to do another 6. 1, 2, next stitch, 1, 2, and 2 in the last stitch. 1, 2. So So now we have 12 stitches in our second round, and I'm going to be putting a stitch marker in my last stitch just so I know where the stitch is and I can count back again in case I lose count. Like I said, we want to increase by 6 stitches every round, so now we want to go from 12 to 18. And to do this, we'll put 2 single crochet in the first, then 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and so on. So we'll do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and that'll get us to 18 stitches. 1, 2 in the first, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now my tail is so short I can just put it to the back and leave it there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and now my 18th will go in the last stitch, but I'll take my stitch marker out and then move it into the last stitch after I do the last stitch. 18, and I'll move my stitch marker right here in the top. So again, I can keep track of where I am in this round. If you're crocheting along with me, you'll notice that it's curling upwards a bit. That's because it wants to round out a bit. The thing about working in the round is there is a right side and a wrong side. The top that we're looking at right now is the right side. You can see these lines in it, these ridges for each round. The back looks like this. This is the wrong side. It has these little bumps between the stitches. So we want this to be on the inside. Now either you can just keep going this way and then turn it inside out later when you're done, but I find it easier to just start curling it the other way and then keep working this way, and then I don't have to turn it inside out later when I'm done. So we have 18 stitches in this round, and again we want to increase by 6 because that was our starting number. So we want to get to 24 stitches, and the way to do that is we'll put 2 in the first, then 1 in the next, and 1 in the next. Then again 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. That's how we'll be going around for 24 stitches. So we'll start right here with 1, 2, 3, 4, then 2 in the next, 5 and 6, 7, 8, now again 2, 9 and 10, 11, 12, now 2 again, 13, 14, not 2, 14, 15, 16, now 2 again, 17 and 18, 19, 20, now 2 again, 21, 22, and after you do 2 stitches in one, always make sure you really get into the next one. Sometimes they can overlay the next one a little bit, so you want to pull it back and then make 1 stitch in the next open stitch. So that's 23, and I'll move my stitch marker again for 24. And then I'll place my stitch marker on the last stitch again so I know exactly where my round ends. So now we have 24 stitches. Again, turn it the other way a bit so the outside stays outside. And that's the size we're going to leave it at because we're just doing a little practice ball. Now we want to do 5 rounds of 24 stitches each. So I'll leave the stitch marker in here and just work 1 single crochet into each stitch and keep going for 5 rounds. And I'm going to speed this up. You can pause this video at any time, but since I'm not doing any increases or anything, I don't think I really need to show this step by step or stitch by stitch. So I'll meet you when I've got those 5 rounds done. Alright, I'm done with my 5 rows now, and as you see I left my stitch marker in the last stitch of the last round that I did increases in. So that's when we went to 24. And from here it's really easy to count how many rows you've been working. I usually leave this in the last stitch of the last round that I had an increase. Then I just work up and I can count easily how many rows I've done. And this is by counting the holes between the stitches from the stitch marker. So the stitch marker is in this bottom stitch. So this is round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd recommend leaving this in the last stitch of the last round where you did an increase, and then just work and work and work until you can count up to the desired amount of rounds, in this case 5. So now we want to start decreasing to close up the ball and actually make it nice and round. There are different ways to decrease. The usual standard one is called a single crochet 2 together. In a pattern it would be written SC2TOG, which stands for single crochet 2 together. And I'll show you how that one is worked. You insert your hook in the stitch, pull your yarn through, insert in the next stitch, pull your yarn through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. This would be a single crochet 2 together, because you single crochet 2 stitches together, and that way you decrease your amount of stitches. However, the problem with this kind of stitch in Amigurumi is that they are very visible. When you look at it, the holes between the stitches are larger, so there's usually some stuffing showing through, and you can see the extra yarn over in between. So for normal works like hats or shirts or other things, this is a stitch that works really well, but for Amigurumi there's a little trick, which I will show you right now. The trick is called the invisible decrease. And what you do for this is, again, we want to decrease by 6, just like we increased by 6 before. So now we want to go from 24 back down to 18, the same way we went up. So we will decrease these 2 stitches into 1, then do a single crochet, then these 2 back into 1, single crochet,